Puppies, and welcome back to my channel. It's the 11th of April, and that means that it's embellishments on the 11th day. So I've got some cute little embellishments that I've been making this month to share with you. Don't forget that this is a YouTube hop, so there are lots of other fantastic crafters involved in this collaboration. It is hosted by Deb Houck of Deb Houck's Crafty Cottage. I will make sure that all of the details for all of the other ladies are in the box below this video. Do go along and have a look because, like me, I'm sure you'll find loads of inspiration in the other videos. So this month I've done things a little bit differently. I've made a few embellishments, but I've also made a small tutorial for one of the embellishments. So what I'll do is I'll show you the embellishments I've made, and then at the end of the video there will be a tutorial. So to start with, first of all, I've been making flowers again. So I've been making pink flowers this month, and this is with a small patterned paper pad that I'd bought from the range, I think it was, just a little like 10 by 10 notepad, patterned paper pad, sorry. And I just used a couple of different dies that I'd got in my stash. So I'd got one that had got this, it's like a daisy, but it's got a slightly shaped edge to the leaf, and then I'd got a small, well, two different sizes of rolled rose dies. So I've been using those. I've used various things for the centres, so I've used some blingy bits, some like they're actually like half flatback stone things, some little resin flowers, flatback pearls. These are full round pearls. That is some, I think it's supposed to be basing, like for making sceneries out of. So that's the yellow one, and then I've also got it in a pinky colour as well that I've used in another flower, but not these ones. Oh no, I did. Yeah, I used it in the around the edge of the stone on those ones. Yeah, so that's what that's the flowers that I have been making. Okay, next we've got these little bird houses. So as you can see, they are dimensional. They've got the little words on and little gems. I've cut them out of a wood effect paper, and then the trims I've cut out of a pink wood effect paper that I've got. The birds are cut out of patterned papers that coordinate, and then I've made a little nest in the background there, and then the backboard itself that's cut out of a dark wood grain effect paper. And there's the four in the set. One says happy, hello, dream and lovely, and this is what the tutorial shows at the end. It shows it how I've taken it from a plain flat die cut. So this is just how it would look if you just put the die cuts together, and how I've taken it from that to that. That's what my tutorial will show later on. If anybody is interested in watching, just stay tuned for that. So that was those ones. I also made some cute little dogs. So I made the little girl dogs, and I've used patterned paper that had got like a fur effect to cut the actual dog out of, and then I've cut the little jumper in that really ditzy little print of paper, and the matching bow to go on a hat, and I've cut the ruffle for her skirt and her collar in a coordinating paper that matches the hat, and then I've put a little bit of tulle just on the bottom there for the skirt, and then I've die cut the little collar and a tiny little silver bow tag to go on that one. So I've made 4 of those that all match, and then I also made 4, it's the same die cut, but I've used a different hat die for it, and I've just done it slightly differently. So this one I've used a black and white fur effect paper, and then I've cut the hat and the jumper out of coordinating papers, and I've used puffy paint, just like the little tubes of puffy paint to make like the woolly effect trims on the jumper and the hat. And again, I've done a tiny little coordinating silver collar with a little white ivory bone tag for him, and little glossy nose and eyes for that one. So those were my little puppy dogs. And then finally I made some swans this month as well. Let's move those out of the way. So first of all I made some white swans. So those are my white swans. And as you can see, I've cut them out of glitter cardstock. I've paper pieced in the little pink glitter crown and popped some little gems on the top of that. I've also then pieced in a little orange beak and the eye, and just put a little white dot on the eye. I've got these really cute little flat back bows, so she's got that pretty little bow there, and then I've put some feathers behind the wing, which I've popped up on some dimensionals just to give it a little bit of something extra. So that's the white ones, and then I also made some black ones. I love black swans, so I've done exactly the same thing with the black ones, but on the black ones I have put white eyes with the black dot. I've done a blue crown, and I've got a slightly different bow, so it almost looks like a dicky bow on that one. So I thought these would be quite cute on wedding or anniversary cards, because they almost look like Mr. and Mrs. Swan. Yeah, so that's what I have been busily making this month. Like I say, don't forget to go along and check out all the other ladies and the lovely Deb to see what they've been creating, to get some more inspiration. Let's see if I can get everything in shot. I don't think I'm going to. There we go. Yeah, so that's what I've been creating. Stay tuned if you would like to see the tutorial of how I put these together and made it that little bit something extra. Next collaboration is going to be the 25th for Smash That Small Paper Pad. I've also got my hashtag A to Z Art Journal 2020. If you haven't seen that video, I think it was the previous couple of videos, I was actually putting the covers together for the journal. I've had loads of fantastic suggestions for words, so thank you so much to everybody that has watched that video and has made some suggestions as to what my first prompt, my A prompt for that could be. So I think I will probably do that one at some point over the weekend. And I have I've got a birthday card to make as well at some point as well. So yeah, a few things going on, and I have been out over in my other like in my summer house. I've been making some cotton masks, and I've also been doing a bit of crochet. So been keeping myself plenty busy around, obviously still being at work. So yeah, busy. But I think that's the best way to be at the moment, isn't it? So I will now chop in the other part of the video so that you can see the tutorial, and I'm looking forward to hopping along and seeing what all the other lovely ladies have created. So thanks for watching. I just thought I would come on and actually share the process for one of my embellishments with you. I decided to do some critter type embellishments this month, and I started off by doing this one, which is this really cute little birdhouse. It's quite sort of dimensional with the little birdies, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but they've got feathers under their wings, and there's some nesting material in their little bird box behind them. Now, I shared some of my embellishments last month on a Facebook group, I think it was, and somebody said, oh, they're very nice, but you've just put some die cuts together, so is that really a handmade embellishment sort of thing? And I was a bit like, well, I think anything that we make, anything that we create is an embellishment. It doesn't matter whether we make it from a kit or a die set, or because I think that they can all look very different depending on what you do. So I thought I'd show you the difference. So this is the die cut, just put together as a die cut. So I've die cut all the pieces out of patterned papers, and I've just stuck them flat. I've cut a heart out and layered that just on top. It's thin and it's very cute. It's very, very pretty, but there's nothing extra to it. The only extra thing I did was put an eye with a glaze pen on each of the birds. And actually then when you compare that to the other one that I've made, where obviously it's dimensional and it's got all the additional bits like the nest and the the bird feathers and the bling pieces and the little word. And actually, you know, I think that's what, to me, that's what takes it from just putting a die cut together to making a handmade embellishment. But I'd be really interested to hear what you guys think about that. I didn't know whether to be offended or whether it was just, you know, some people just, they sort of say things without thinking about how they're saying it. But I thought, well, do you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I enjoy making them. I think they're cute embellishments. And, you know, the ones that I've sent out, people seem to have liked. So, but yeah, I would be interested to hear. But anyway, that's not why I came on. Sidetracked completely. I wanted to share with you how I put them together. So I have die cut all of the pieces that came in this die set. So that's how they come. Now I have inked all the edges of all of the pieces, even down to this tiny little dot that goes up there, because I think that that gives it that little bit of something extra. I've also, because the paper I used for the birds was really thin, I've cut them out. I've cut some cardstock out and just layered it onto the cardstock just to make them a little bit more substantial. And on the end of this little bird's beak, I've put a little bit of Tipp-Ex because I wanted a gold beak to match the word that I've put on the other sentiments, but the gold didn't stand out very well on this paper, so I just put a little bit of Tipp-Ex on and let that dry, and then the gold pen will stand out more. I've also taken this bottom piece, I've cut it again, and I cut it in like a Hessian type paper, and then I went over it with a selection of Copic markers, just making little flick marks here and there, and then I've inked all around the edge with some vintage photo, and that I'm going to snip, and that's what I used to make the nest. So I've just used an extra piece of that. I also, the die for the birdhouse is this piece, so I cut it twice, but in this one I've die cut a heart out of the centre, and again that heart came in the little set, the die set, but I've cut it into it so that we can actually put the nest inside the bird box, and again I've inked around the edges of that. So to start with, I think what we'll start with is we'll do this little bit to start. So some bits I've been using wet glue, like just the white tacky glue, and some bits I've been using my glue gun, depending on sort of how quick I want the grab to be, really. So obviously on this I want time to just be able to line it up. So, and I tend to do that at the back because I find that I get it more even if I look at it on the back. And then I'm going to put the little skirt piece on the bottom here, like so, like that. And then we've got the little dot that goes up there. I don't know if it does go up there, that's just how I did it, but I think it looks cute. Okay, so that's that. I'm not going to put the bling piece on just yet because I want this to be able to lie flat while I do the next bit, which is to raise it up. In fact, I'll do the nest before I raise it up. So to do the nest, I just took, all my tools are out, not in the right place. I took this, like I say, this little sort of bottom piece, and I just snipped a piece off and glued it to the bottom here, like so. And just line that up however I want it on the bottom there. Then I've got all sorts of things that I'm using that you can use as nesting material. I've got a big bag of sisal, and I've also got this really strange looking yarn. It was a half finished scarf I found in a charity shop, so I brought the scarf home, washed it, and then I just pulled the yarn out because it's good for I've just put it in a poly bag, but it's good for making little nesting bits. So for the sisal, all I'm going to do is just chop a bit off. Go back out the way. Move my other bits out the way because I want to turn it over to the mucky side of my card. And I just want to put a little bit of ink on on there. So this is just vintage photo with a sponge tool, and it just gives it a few sort of different tones because it's quite a pale sisal. So it'll just make it look a bit more like sort of hay or straw or something. And then what I've been doing is just putting a little bit of hot glue just on the back of where I put that nest. Then with my handy dandy finger protector, just getting a bunch of the sisal and literally just pushing it onto that nest. And then the same with a piece of that yarn stuff. I've just, again, a little bit of hot glue. And again, that just adds, you know, a little bit of difference to the texture of the nest. So you can see that's how it's starting to look. Then I take that other piece that we snipped off and just put a little bit of hot glue just on the bottom of that. And then I'm going to put that on the back there, but I am going to do it so I can see from the front, so I can sort of line it up where I want it, like that. And then I am just going to put a little bit more just under there to make that sit flat. And then just a little bit more hot glue on the back there. And then I am folding over that nesting material into, back over and into the back of it there. Oops, keep touching my camera. Then once I've done that, I'm going to trim off any excess that's sticking out the side, obviously being careful not to cut my actual birdhouse. And then just have a look and sort of, you know, tidy up what I want there. And then the other thing that I've been doing is just coming back in and putting the tiniest little bit of glue just on that little front bit of the nest that you can see. Sort of scrounging up some of the bits of sisal that are left. And again, with the finger protector, pushing that down and into the nest bit there. And then again, this time I'm going to use my smaller scissors. I'm just going in and trimming that back because I want it to be in the background. I don't want it to sort of, you know, take over the piece. So just, and obviously you can, you know, faff about with that and get it exactly how you want it. There you go. So that's my little nest in the background. Just to get rid of some of the sisal bits. My floor's covered in it. I'm going to have to get the hoover out in a bit. Okay, so now I've got the nest in the background there. I want to make this sort of stand up a little bit. And the way that I've done that is I've just taken some cardboard packaging and cut it into strips. And then I'm just cutting them to the right size. And again, using my hot glue, just put a bead of hot glue along there. And just remember to keep it on the actual the birdhouse bit, not onto the trims, because then when you put your backing piece on, all of that cardboard will be covered up by your backing piece. So obviously you can do it any way you want. Make little pencil marks to help you get your cut your cardboard to size. So I'll just pause the video while I do this bit, so you don't want to sit and watch me cut and stick bits of cardboard. Okay, so as you can see, I've now done that, and on the back there, it's looking like a hot mess, but that's okay because we're going to cover that up. And from the front, it'll look really pretty. So to get the back piece on, I do use white glue. I did do one of them with the hot glue, and it just set so quickly I couldn't quite get it lined up the way that I wanted to, and you can just see a slight sliver of the backing from the front, which annoys me. So I've taken to doing it with white glue for the others. So if you pop it on and then turn it over, and then you can sort of fiddle with it, because you want to get it to the point where you can't really see the backing from behind the piece that you've put together, like that. So that's the fundamental part of the birdhouse made. So then I need to do the birds to sit on it. So I've got 2 birdies and their wings. So for this little birdie, I gave the wing just a little bit of shape, just using a ball stylus, just like you would with a flower petal or flower head, just rubbing over it to give it a little bit of shape, like that. And then I've got this pack of leaves that I think I picked up from the works ages ago because I liked the sort of vintagey colour of them. And all I've done is take the leaf, make sure I've got it going the right way. Now this is really fiddly and you've got to be really careful, and this is where a fine tip, precision tip glue gun comes in really handy. So I've put a really small bit of hot glue on the back of this wing, and if I can, I'm going to stick that to this feather like that. Okay. And then just taking my scissors, I'm just going to trim that out. And then as you can see, you've got just a little bit of bird feather sticking out from his wing there. And for me, I think it's these tiny little details that sort of take it from being that very flat die cut that I showed you in the beginning to something just a little bit different. And you know, it's not to say that one's right and one's wrong, it's just, I don't know, just for me it's that that's what makes these, you know, these my die cuts, the bits that I think about and add extra is what makes, you know, makes it my embellishment. You know, I'm sure you guys would have other ideas of, oh, you know, you could have done that there and that would have looked really cute, and you know, you would probably do different things with your die cuts. And for me, that's the beauty of die cuts, is that, you know, you can sort of take them wherever you want to take them. You can do what you like. So I've done the same there to his little tail. I've just added a little tiny bit to his tail there. And then I've got, stuck on my jar, I've got 2 tiny little black crystals that I'm using for their eyes. These were just actually out of the pound shop. So I've just taken it off of its adhesive mounting, and then more fingers and thumbs, pop it onto my bird like that. And then again, you can just sort of fiddle about to get it exactly where you want it. I've also got a black Sakura gel sort of glaze pen. So this one's having a little black beak. So I'm just, with the glaze pen, because this one will stay nice and shiny, I'm just colouring in just the very tip of the beak there. And then I'm going to set that off to one side to dry whilst I work on this birdie. So, as I said earlier, I have put just a little bit of Tipex on the end of its beak there, and that's just to help the gold stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to first of all put the gold pen over that Tipex, and that then just gives that a little bit of time to dry while I work on the wing. So for the wing on this one, I've got some pink marabou trim that I picked up at a just a local haberdashery shop. So similar sort of thing, I'm just going to take the wing and I'm going to put a bead of glue all the way across the top of the wing there, and then I'm just going to press that down into this marabou and stick it to the marabou basically. I'm then just going to cut it out so that I can put the big trim away, and I'm just left with just the wing to deal with. And again, on this one, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to, with my scissors, I'm just going to get my scissors up between the feather at the bottom there and the bottom of the wing. Because don't forget, we only stuck up towards the top of the wing. We only put glue up towards the top of the wing. So there should be sort of space for you to go and trim it down at the bottom there. But, you know, it doesn't really matter if you've got a little bit sticking out down the bottom, because that's what bird feathers do. And then you can leave those as long or as short as you want. So what I've been tending to do is put it in against my bird, glue it down, and then trim back. So I don't want too much around its face, because obviously I want to be able to see the little eye once I've stuck the eye on. So I will stick that on like so, and then I will just take my scissors and give it a little haircut just around its face there. So you've still got all your feathers sticking at the top, but you've got enough space to be able to pop your eye on and still see the little eye. So little blob of glue, and then I've got this little crystal. I'm just going to take the sticky stuff off the back. Because these come stuck in like a strip, the sticky stuff on them is not really any good, so I tend to take the sticky off the back and use a bit of wet glue. And there we go. So that's that one. So put that to one side a moment and let the just let the glue on his eye dry. And then I've just got a circular piece of cardboard. It's just the same cardboard that I've used for the strips. I've just punched some circles just with a standard hand punch. And then I'm just going to glue one of these onto the back of my bird, like so. And then the other one onto the back of my other bird. Like that. And then I'm going to glue my birds onto my birdhouse. Like that. Like that. Then I've got these little heart crystals that I thought were really cute. So I've just been putting one of those just above the lovebirds, like so. And then I've got these really nice words that somebody sent me in Happy Mail. Sorry, they're a bit glary because they're gold. Yeah, I've been liking just that little pop of gold. They are just a little bit wide, so I'm just going to trim them. You know, I always think don't be afraid to alter anything. If it doesn't quite meet your purpose, but you could make it by altering it, then, you know, just go ahead and alter it. And then I'm just tucking that. I have to use my tweezers. Just tucking that up and under so that you can still see a little bit at the bottom of that nice trim. And there we go. That's the little Lovebird's birdhouse. I hope you can see it. The lights, it's really, really bright, but it keeps changing in here today because it's sort of quite cloudy. But yeah, so I've made 4 of those. Lovely, happy, hello, and dream. So those are the 4 that I've made. And then obviously that's just the flat die cut. I will use it in something because it is cute. But like I say, you know, for me, I enjoy taking something like that and sort of, you know, thinking about it outside the box and thinking, well, you know, what could I do to turn it into something just that sort of little bit extra. So I'd be really interested to hear what you think down in the description box below. I think these do qualify as embellishments. As you can see, they take a really long time, you know, with all the die cutting and inking and everything as well. They're not quick to make, so I think they qualify, but I'd be interested to hear what you say. So that was the tutorial to make the little bird houses. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it's inspired you. And thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you all again very soon in another crafty video. Bye for now.